which is 8 to 10 feet in diameter at the base. And so they're unlike trees anywhere else.
Susan Garrett Baker, like Mayor Moore and Andy Sansom, grew up near the Brazos River Trail. Susan and her husband, James Baker III, have supported environmental causes for many years.
Recently, I had the pleasure of going down the Brazos River for the first time since I was a child, and it was fabulous to see that it's still very untouched. The wildlife abounds, and gosh, there was such a wide variety of birds.
In a single night during the spring migration, tens of thousands of neotropical birds, warblers, buntings, grosbeaks, thrushes, hummingbirds, orioles, tanagers, and more fly 600 miles across the Gulf of Mexico on their way back to North America. The flocks are so large they can be seen on radar screens. On this side of their journey, they're desperate to survive.
That's a long flight with no rest. And so when they get to the Texas coast, they need trees in a hurry because they simply can't, as ducks and geese and other waterfowl, they can't land in the marsh. And so these woodlands become safe haven for them to stop, to rest, to replenish their energy and be safe, and then once rested, continue their migration on to the north.
Just a few minutes from Sugar Land, Brazos Bend State Park is a good place to start exploring the Brazos River Trail. It's easy to find, beautiful, and diverse.
There, you could show one the tremendous function of oxbow lakes, which are bends of the Brazos that have actually been isolated over the eons to form wetlands and other types of habitat in the forest. Plus, there are spectacular bluffs along the river, gorgeous bottomland hardwoods, diverse wildlife, including alligators and other things, right at your fingertips.
The Brazos River Trail is becoming a reality through team effort.
One initiative has been the Columbia Bottomlands Conservation Plan, which has a goal of protecting 10% of the original ecosystem, or 70,000 acres. To date, about 14,000 acres have been preserved. The Gulf Coast Bird Observatory is also an important player. It's one of the leading institutions for migratory songbirds, and some of the conservationists at the Fish and Wildlife Service are legendary.
Mike Lang is a phenomenon. He showed up down there 20 or so years ago with this big straw hat and plunged into it with both feet. And in fact, he's been one of the most effective land conservation officials that I've worked with in the Fish and Wildlife Service.
Industry partners such as Dow Chemical Company, in partnership with the City of Lake Jackson, have also played an extremely important role. Dow has contributed thousands of acres of land, and their employees have donated countless hours of volunteer time to help increase native biodiversity and restore habitat.
One of the most remarkable and important events that occurred during the 1990s that gave a jump start to activities with respect to land and water conservation along the mouth of the Brazos River was the extraordinary efforts starting in the early 1990s that Dow Chemical made to really bring state-of-the-art conservation to the region.
Cities and counties have also helped forge the Brazos River Trail concept. Early on, Brazoria County Commissioner Mary Ruth Rodenbaugh saw the importance of conservation, and she encouraged others to join her.
Well, we're really fortunate to have such enlightened leadership from Judge Joe King of Brazoria County and Judge Bob Hebert of Fort Bend County, because they're working together on this in creative ways that are getting landowners and government entities together, and they're not only going to increase the quality of life, but they're going to provide jobs and increase the tax base. And I think all this will ensure that this treasure is protected for future generations.
Hiking, biking, horseback riding, paddling, even historic paddle boat tours are among the many activities planned for the Brazos River Trail. Both Brazoria and Fort Bend counties have adopted resolutions to fully develop the trail.
Good stewardship is critical not only to families and people who love to watch birds and hunt and fish, but to the economy of an area. The ability to attract some of the brightest and best of our new industry leaders around the country has been directly related to the level of conservation activity that has occurred in the area in the last 20 to 25 years. When I was a kid, it was climbing a tree and building a tree house, or, paddling my canoe on an adventure down some of these coastal waterways in the bottomlands. And what I hope is that they will become places for children to continue to be able to experience the outdoors and thus reinforce their continued protection in the years ahead.
Wilderness isn't just a concept, it's real, and it's important. Let's preserve it, support it, discover it, and enjoy it. It's our nature.